There is a story whispered, not in your conscious mind, but in the silent, subterranean chambers of your being. It is a story of limitation, written in the old ink of forgotten wounds and borrowed fears. You believe this story to be your own. You have perhaps memorized its every line until its narrative of doubt feels like the very pulse of your blood. But I must tell you something your soul already knows, but your ego has forgotten. That story is not a life sentence. It is but a program running on the ancient hardware of a psyche that has not yet been updated. And you are not merely the reader. You are the programmer who has been asleep at the terminal. The time has come to awaken, to stretch the limbs of your own will, and to command the cursor. For the code of timidity can be rewritten. The operating system of the self can be reinstalled. And the first command you must input, the one that will initiate the cascade of transformation, is not an affirmation of strength, but a simple, terrifying and glorious act of recognition to turn and face the unlit architecture within. There is a voice inside you. You know, the one. It is not the voice of your ambition, nor the voice of your compassion. It is the quieter one, the one that speaks in the pauses between your thoughts. It is the voice that whispers, you are not enough. It is the architect of that subtle ache of inadequacy you carry in your chest, a structure built not in a day, but over a lifetime, brick by heavy brick. You have tried to silence this voice, have you not? You have painted over its graffiti with affirmations. You have shouted it down with boasts. You have tried to lock it away in a distant room of your mind. And yet it remains. It is the shadow that follows you in the brightest sun. And you have been taught to run from this shadow, to hide from it, to deny its very existence. But I tell you, this is the fundamental error of a life lived on the surface. For you are running from the very site where your true fortress must be built. This voice, this collection of fears and frailties, is what I have called the shadow. It is not, as many mistakenly believe, your enemy. It is not a monster to be slain. It is, rather, the pile of rejected stone from the quarry of your own soul. Every quality you have ever disowned, your anger, your vulnerability, your selfishness, your strange and unconventional desires, you have cast them aside. You deemed them unworthy, ugly, unfit for the person you wished to present to the world. And so you gathered them up, these rough, unhewn stones of your nature, and you pushed them into the darkness behind you. You thought you were tidying up your inner world, making it presentable. But in truth, you were discarding the very raw materials of your strength that consider the great, enduring cathedrals of the world. They were not built from perfect, identical, machine-cut blocks. Their foundations are made of massive, rough-hewn stone, hauled from the depths of the earth. These stones are irregular, they are heavy, they are flawed, they bear the marks of the quarry. They would never be chosen to decorate a fine drawing room. And yet, it is upon these very stones, these rejected foundational stones, that the entire soaring structure rests. It is their weight, their resilience, their unshakable presence in the dark that allows the spire to reach for the heavens. Your psyche is no different. Your polished persona, the face you show at work, at parties, to the world that is the delicate spire, the stained glass. It is beautiful, but it is fragile. It cannot stand alone. It requires a foundation. And that foundation is the shadow dot, the journey to unshakable confidence. Then is not a journey of addition, but of reclamation. It is not about gathering new, shiny skills from the outside, but about venturing into your own inner darkness to recover what you left there. This is the most courageous work you will ever do. You must turn around and face that pile of discarded stone. You must kneel down in the dim light and examine it. This stone here, this is your capacity for rage. Feel its weight. It is not evil. It is the energy of your no, the power of your boundaries. That stone there, that is your vulnerability. Feel its rough texture. It is not weakness. It is the capacity to be affected, to be moved, to be real. This one is your selfishness. It is not a sin. It is the primal instinct for self-preservation, the kernel of your will to exist. And as you pick up each one, as you hold it and truly see it for the first time, a profound alchemy occurs. The stone you once thought was worthless begins to feel solid in your hand. It ceases to be a weapon you might turn against yourself and becomes, instead, a building block. You are not embracing a monster, you are reclaiming your own substance. You are gathering the mass of your own being. This is how you build the cathedral within. You take the anger and you lay it as the cornerstone of your resolve. You take the vulnerability and you mortar it into the walls of your compassion. You take the strange, unconventional desires and you fashion them into the unique gargoyles that give your character its distinct silhouette. This inner structure, born from the integration of all that you are, does not tremble at the first gust of external criticism. It does not crumble when failure rains upon it. It stands because it is built upon the truth of your complete self, not the fragile fiction of a partial one. So stop running from the darkness at your heels. Turn and look. The confidence you seek will not be found in the light you are straining toward, but in the reconciliation with the shadow you have left behind. Begin the work. Lay the first stone. And so you have begun this great work. You have turned to face the shadow. You have gathered your rejected stones, and you feel the weight of your true foundation settling beneath you. A formidable structure is rising within. But now, a new question whispers from the depths. What will you house in this cathedral? For a sanctuary can be filled with light, or it can be filled with echoes. It can be a place of profound focus, or a chaotic hall where every passing wind finds a voice. This, my friends, is the next and perhaps most subtle task of the soul, the mastery of that which flows into you, the sacred discipline of your attention. We have spoken of the stones. Now we must speak of the current that wears them away or polishes them to a brilliant shine. We must speak of the alchemy of attention, for the world in its relentless chatter is a river of lead, and you must become the vessel that turns it into gold. From the moment you wake, this river pours into you. It is the drip, drip, drip of the news scroll, the siren song of the notification, the demands that pull you in a dozen directions before your morning tea has grown cold. It is the opinion of a colleague that lodges in your mind like a splinter, the worry about a future that has not yet arrived, the ghost of a regret from a past you cannot change. This is the lead of distraction. It is heavy, it is dull, and it accumulates within the very chambers you have worked so hard to build, until the soaring arches of your inner space feel cluttered, clouded, and dense. You believe you are merely busy, but in truth, you are being occupied. Your consciousness is becoming a haunted house, filled with the phantoms of other people's agendas and the specters of a world that demands your gaze but not your depth. But I tell you, your attention is not a passive window. It is the primal substance of your reality. It is the philosopher's stone of your own experience. What you attend to, you invite in. What you invite in, you give life. You are, at every moment, performing a kind of magic, a subtle alchemy, where the raw material of the external world is transmuted into the inner experience of your life. The question is not what the world is showing you, but what you are choosing to see. Where you place your focus is where you pour the fuel of your soul. If you focus on anxiety, you are feeding the wolf of fear. If you focus on resentment, you are building a throne for bitterness. This is not a metaphor. It is a psychological fact. You are cultivating a garden, and your attention is the water. You cannot be surprised by the weeds if you have been watering them all along. The practice, then, is to become the vigilant alchemist of your own mind. It is to stand at the gates of your senses and to choose, with ruthless compassion, what you will permit to enter the sanctum of your awareness. This begins not with a grand battle, but with a simple, revolutionary act, the act of noticing. Notice the weight of the lead. Feel the dull ache of a mind scattered across 100 trivialities. Acknowledge it without judgment. Then, consciously, deliberately, you must redirect the flow. You must seek the gold. The gold is not found in the frantic noise, but in the profound silence between the thoughts. It is in the full, immersive sensation of a single breath drawn slowly. It is in the quality of the light on the leaves outside your window, truly seen for the first time today. It is in the complete absorption in a task, any task where the self vanishes and only the doing remains. In these moments, you are not processing information, you are experiencing presence. And presence is the pure gold of consciousness. This is the great transmutation. The same energy that was once dissipated across the chaotic field of worry and reaction is now gathered, focused, and refined into a single potent point of being. The lead of distraction, when held in the fiery vessel of your conscious awareness, melts away to reveal the gold of unwavering focus. This focused awareness is the light that fills your cathedral. It illuminates the arches of your resolve and warms the stones of your reclaimed self. It is what turns a structure of potential into a living, radiant presence. This is the unshakable confidence, not of the ego, but of the soul that knows where it resides and what it serves not, so let the river of the world flow on. Your task is not to dam it, but to learn the art of the sluice gate and the sieve, to separate the precious from the worthless, to choose, moment by moment, the gold of presence over the lead of distraction. And so you have done the work. You have gathered the rough stone from the shadow and learned the alchemist's art of turning the leaden chatter of the world into the gold of a focused mind. The inner sanctuary is built and illuminated. It stands, it is resilient. Yet a profound question now echoes in this newfound silence: who or what is meant to inhabit this sacred space? For a cathedral is not built for its stones, nor for its light, but for the presence that gives it meaning. We have constructed the temple, and now we must awaken the God that resides within its walls. We must call forth from the depths of your own being the eternal pattern, the primordial force that has been waiting beneath the rubble of your past. I speak of the archetype of the unbroken. You carry deep within the collective soil of your psyche a timeless image. It is not a memory from your personal life, but something far older. It is the pattern of the resilient one, the indomitable spirit that has been forged in the fires of adversity across the entire span of human history. It is the essence of the hero who is not defined by the absence of wounds, but by the profound truth of their healing. This is not a fantasy of invulnerability. It is the deep, structural truth of resilience. It is the pattern of the bone that, once broken, grows back stronger at the seam. It is the pattern of the forest that, after the fire, finds in the ash the very nutrients for its most vibrant rebirth. This archetype does not deny the past, it transfigures it. It is the part of you that knew, even in your moment of deepest fracture, that you were not defined by the breaking dot. But how do we awaken this slumbering giant? It is not summoned, by mere affirmation. You cannot simply pretend the fractures did not happen. No. The key lies in the curious alchemy of memory and meaning. Your personal history, with all its pains and its disappointments, is not a prison sentence. It is the training ground. It is the specific, personal myth through which this universal archetype seeks to manifest in you. Think of your most profound failure, that old story you have told yourself 1,000 times with a tone of shame. You have been reading it as a verdict. But I ask you to pick up that story now, not as a judge, but as a scholar of the soul. Look at it again. Look for the hidden, glimmering thread of strength within it. Where did you, even for a moment, choose to take another breath? Where did you, in your despair, feel a flicker of defiance? That flicker was not you alone. That was the unbroken, stirring in its sleep. Your task is to actively remythologize your own life. You must take the raw data of your experience and, like a poet of the self, find the deeper, archetypal pattern within it. That heartbreak did not destroy you. It initiated you into the universal pattern of loss and renewal. That betrayal did not make you weak. It called forth the archetype of the discerning guardian. You are not a lonely victim of circumstance. You are the latest incarnation of an eternal story of the human spirit rising from the ashes. When you do this, you are not lying to yourself. You are performing the most sacred act of psychological integration. You are plugging your personal story into the vast cosmic power grid of human endurance. The energy that flows into you is no longer merely your own limited supply. It is the power of the archetype itself. It is the unstoppable force of life insisting on its own continuation. This is the final forging of an unassailable confidence. It is the knowledge that flows not from the ego, which is fragile, but from the self, which is eternal. It is the understanding that you are not building your confidence from scratch, but excavating it. You are clearing away the debris of personal history to reveal the timeless, unbreakable statue that has always been there. The cracks and chips from your past are no longer flaws. They are the patina of authenticity, the proof of the journey. They are what make the statue yours, so let the light of your focused awareness fall upon the stories you have carried as burdens. Begin to tell them not as tales of damage, but as legends of the unbroken awakening. For the foundation is laid, the sanctuary is lit, and the God is waiting to breathe life into the stone dot, and so we arrive at the great and quiet truth at the heart of all this work. We have descended into the cellar and reclaimed the stone. We have learned the alchemist's discipline, turning the base noise of the world into the golden silence of focus. But now, standing in this well-lit and fortified sanctuary, we must confront the most terrifying and glorious question of all: who or what is the master of this house? For we have not been building a mere shelter. We have been preparing a vessel, and within you, buried not under the weight of your past, but within its very essence, lies a timeless pattern, an indestructible blueprint. I speak of the archetype of the unbroken. You see, the personal history you carry, the one you narrate with such a sense of finality, the failures, the humiliations, the heartbreaks, you have been reading it as a verdict. You have mistaken the map for the territory. You believe these events shaped you, and so they have. But they did not shape you as a potter shapes inert clay. They shaped you as the ocean shapes a cliff, and the cliff, in its essence, was always there. Its fundamental structure, its unyielding core, was merely revealed by the storm. Your past is not the author of your being. It is the initiation ritual. It is the specific, personal myth through which something universal, and eternal in you is being called forth. This is not a denial of pain. It is a transfiguration of it. There is, within the very marrow of your psyche, an ancient image of resilience. It is the pattern of the bone that, once fractured, knits itself back together with a strength the unbroken bone never knew. It is the pattern of the forest that, after the cleansing fire, discovers in its own ashes the potent nutrients for a rebirth more vibrant than any that came before. This is the archetype of the unbroken. It does not mean a life without wounding. It means a life where the wound is not the end of the story, but the crucial turning of the page. It is the part of you that knew, even in the very moment of your deepest fracture, that the fracture was not your identity, your task, then is to perform the sacred act of remythologizing your own life. You must take the cold, hard facts of your personal history and read them not as a list of damages, but as the epic legend of the unbroken awakening. That failure was not a condemnation, it was the necessary ordeal that forged your will. That betrayal was not proof of your unworthiness, it was the initiation into the art of discernment. That loss was not an emptiness, it was the hollowing out of a vessel, making space for a deeper capacity to hold life itself. When you do this, you are not lying to yourself. You are performing the most vital act of psychological alchemy. You are connecting your small, personal story to the vast, cosmic power grid of human endurance. The confidence that arises from this is of an entirely different order. It is no longer the confidence of the ego, which is brittle and must be constantly defended. It is the confidence of the self. It is the quiet, unshakable knowing of the cliff that has withstood 1,000 storms. It knows its own composition. It is acquainted with its own durability. The scars are no longer seen as flaws, but as the intricate patina of a soul that has lived and endured and chosen to continue. They are the marks of authenticity, Dot. So I urge you, take up the narrative of your life once more. Do not read it as a casualty report. Read it as the sacred text of your own becoming, the myth through which the unbroken one, who has always resided within you, is step by step remembering itself, Dot, and so you have met the unbroken one within, the eternal presence that regards your past not as a chain, but as a crucible. You have felt its solidity, yet now, as this stronger self prepares to step forward into the world, you will feel it a heat upon your neck, a rumble in the depths of your newly built sanctuary. The shadow you integrated had a voice, but this has breath. This is the dragon, and everything in your civilized being will scream to flee, to bar the doors, to deny the smoke seeping from beneath the foundation. But I tell you, the final, most critical alchemy of confidence is not slaying the dragon, it is to learn the language of its fire. We have been taught that fear is the enemy. We speak of conquering it, of slaying our anxieties as if they were beasts to be piled at our feet as trophies. This is the arrogance of the ego, and it is a fatal error. For this dragon is not a foreign invader. It is the primal, instinctual energy of your own life force, the very heat of your potential, which has, in the darkness of your unconscious, grown scales and spines, and a ferocious aspect. Its fire is the raw power of your existence, your will to live, your passion to create, your instinct to protect what you love. When you try to slay it, you are not destroying a monster, you are committing a slow suicide of the spirit. You are cutting yourself off from the very source of your vitality. The goal, therefore, is not a dragon slaying, but a dragon taming. And the taming begins with a dialogue. You must, with the courage of the unbroken one as your shield, approach the beast. You must look into its swirling, molten eyes and ask the first, most terrifying question: what are you here to protect? You will be astonished by the answer. The dragon of your social anxiety is not there to humiliate you. It is the ancient guardian of your tribal belonging, hyper-vigilant against exclusion. The dragon of your fear of failure is not there to paralyze you. It is the fierce protector of your significance, desperate to ensure your actions have meaning and weight. Its methods are archaic, its breath is scorching, but its intention is rooted in a distorted, primordial form of care. This is the great transmutation. When you understand the protective purpose of the fear, the energy within it begins to shift. The fire that was once only a weapon of destruction reveals itself as a tool of immense power. You do not extinguish this flame. You learn to harness it. The anxiety about a presentation becomes the focused, burning intensity of a performer connecting deeply with an audience. The fear of a financial loss becomes the sharp, clarifying fire that forges a more resilient and intelligent strategy. The rage at an injustice becomes the unwavering catalytic heat that fuels real change. The dragon does not disappear. It kneels. It offers its neck. Its fire, which once threatened to consume you, now flows through you as unwavering conviction, as passionate expression, as the fuel for unstoppable action. This is the source of the final, unassailable confidence. It is not a confidence free from fear. It is a confidence that incorporates fear, that respects its power and knows how to direct it. It is the confidence of the rider who is one with the beast, whose direction is clear and whose will is fused with a power greater than intellect alone. The person who has only silenced their fear is brittle, for the dragon is merely sleeping. But the person who has tamed their fear, who has forged a pact with it, carries a forge within their own chest. They walk into the world not with the bland calm of one who has never known struggle, but with the focused heat of one who has conversed with the heart of their own darkness and emerged not as a survivor, but as a master of the flame dot. So when you feel the heat rise and the old instinct to flee trembles in your bones, remember the choice. You can build a thicker wall and live in the cold, or you can turn, face the gleaming scales, and begin the most profound dialogue of your life. Now you have learned to walk with the dragon. You feel its fire coursing through your veins, not as terror, but as forged purpose. You move through the world from this place of integrated power, and then a most curious thing begins to happen. The world itself begins to whisper back. A book falls open to the exact page you needed to read. A stranger speaks the very words your soul was grappling with. An opportunity emerges from what seemed like mere ruin. You may call this coincidence, a happy accident, but I tell you, this is the universe shifting from a chaotic background into a purposeful partner. This is the Synchronicity engine awakening, and it is the surest sign that you have become a coherent signal in the static of existence. For most, life is a series of random events, a cascade of cause and effect, where they are but a leaf in the stream, tossed and turned by forces beyond their control. They are passive. They wait for luck. But you who have done the work are no longer a leaf. You have become a magnet, passing through a field of iron filings. What seems to the outside eye to be chance, the sudden connection, the timely meeting, the perfect idea arriving as if from nowhere, is in truth the lawful attraction of a coherent psyche. When your inner world is fragmented, your shadow at war with your persona, your attention scattered to the winds, you emit a weak and chaotic signal. The world has nothing clear to respond to. But when you have gathered your stones and lit your sanctuary, When the Unbroken One speaks with the voice of the tamed dragon, you become a beacon of singular, potent frequency. The universe, in its own mysterious language, begins to resonate with that frequency. This is not a matter of mere positive thinking. It is a psychological law as real as gravity. It is the principle of meaning. Synchronicity, the causal connecting principle, is the universe's way of mirroring the wholeness you have cultivated within. The inner marriage of your conscious and unconscious minds creates a field of attraction around you. It is not that you control the outer world, rather you have finally tuned your instrument to hear the music it has been playing all along. The person who is integrated is no longer fighting against the current of life. They have discovered how to read the currents and winds, and so they seem to move with a grace that others mistake for mere luck. They are not manipulating fate, they are in dialogue with it. Think of your psyche as a great ringing bell. When it is crack divided against itself, the tone it produces is dull, discordant, and weak. It cannot carry. But when it is whole, when it has been tempered and unified, it rings with a pure, clear, and powerful note. That note vibrates out into the world of matter and event. And the world, in its own hidden symmetry, answers with harmonies. The chance encounter, the lucky break, these are the harmonies. They are the iron filings leaping to align themselves with the magnet. Your focused intent, your clear purpose, born from the union of your deepest instincts and your highest consciousness, acts as a gravitational pull on the raw potential of reality itself. This is the final external confirmation of the unstoppable confidence you have been building from within. It is the knowledge that you are not alone in a hostile universe, but are a participating, co-creating member of a deeply intelligent and meaningful cosmos. The synchronicity engine is the proof that your inner state is not a private affair. It is a force that rearranges the very texture of your experience. You begin to move through life not as a beggar, hoping for scraps of good fortune, but as a sovereign being engaged in a constant, silent, and magnificent conversation with the soul of the world. So pay attention to the whispers. Notice the patterns that begin to form in the tapestry of your days. Do not dismiss the small, meaningful accidents. They are not accidents. They are the universe nodding in agreement, the first fruits of a harvest you have sown in the rich soil of your own integrated self. They are the sign that you are, at last, reading from the same sacred text as existence itself taught, and so we arrive at the final, most delicate piece of craftsmanship. You have built your inner cathedral, awakened the unbroken, tamed the dragon, and now witness the universe itself whispering in meaningful patterns to your soul. You are whole. You are potent. You are real. And now you must walk back into the marketplace. But with what face will you greet the world? For your entire life you have been handed masks, the mask of the good child, the mask of the diligent worker, the mask of the agreeable friend. This is the persona, and most wear it not as a tool, but as a prison. They have glued it to their skin until they believe the painted smile is their own. They forget it is a garment, and so they suffocate. The final art, the masterpiece of a conscious life, is not to shatter the mask in rebellion, but to become the architect of your own authentic face. The persona is not the enemy. It is a necessary instrument for navigating the social world, much as a ship needs a hull to navigate the sea. But when you identify with the hull, when you believe you are the painted wood and not the captain and crew within, you are lost. You become a hollow echo of expectation. You say what you believe others wish to hear. You suppress a genuine reaction for a polite one. You trade the roaring, complex symphony of your inner self for the single, flat note of approval. This is the source of a profound, lingering emptiness that no external success can ever fill. You feel like a ghost in your own life because you have sent a puppet to live it for you. The work, then, is one of conscious, deliberate creation. You must take off the masks that were given to you, not with anger, but with a quiet, archaeological curiosity. You hold them in your hands, these constructs of should and ought, and you study them. You see the brushstrokes of your parents' hopes, the clay of your teachers' expectations, the gilding of social media's demands, and one by one you lay them aside. This is not an act of destruction, but of clearing the workspace. Then, and only then, can you begin the true work of the soul's artisan dot from the raw materials of your integrated self, from the strength of your reclaimed shadow, the focus of your alchemized attention, the resilience of the unbroken, and the fire of the dragon. You begin to sculpt a new expression. This is not another mask to hide behind. It is a bridge. It is an authentic interface between the profound, private truth of your inner sanctuary and the public world. This authentic persona is fluid, flexible. It is not a rigid facade to be defended, but a living expression to be offered. It allows you to be strong without being cruel, vulnerable, without being helpless, professional, without being impersonal, compassionate, without losing your edge. You are no longer acting like a confident person. You are expressing confidence from its unshakable source. This is the ultimate expression of unstoppable confidence. When the face you show the world is in perfect, harmonious alignment with the soul that resides within, there is no longer a gap, no dissonance, no energy wasted on maintaining a pretense. The energy you once spent on upholding a fragile image is now freed, becoming a radiant presence that others can feel. They may not understand it, but they will recognize its authority, the authority of authenticity. You become a walking synchronicity, where your inner and outer worlds are finally and irrevocably one. So go now, not to destroy the masks of your past, but to thank them for their service and retire them. Then turn to the forge of your own spirit, gather the gold of your hard-won wholeness, and begin to craft the face that is truly yours. Let it be a face that does not hide you, but reveals you, not as a fixed thing, but as a living, breathing, and ever unfolding work of art. And so we come to the great work. Not the building, not the forging, not the taming, nor the crafting, but the weaving. You have gathered the stones of your shadow and built your sanctuary. You have lit it with the gold of your focused attention. You have met its eternal inhabitant, the unbroken one, and forged a pact with the dragon that guards its gate. You have seen the world whisper back in synchronicity, and you have built a bridge of authentic expression to meet it. Now, we must behold the pattern that holds it all. For these are not separate achievements, like scattered jewels in a box. They are fragments of a shattered mirror, each reflecting a sliver of the sky. The final task, the ultimate act of consciousness, is to gather these fragments and reassemble them into a living, breathing map of your entirety. This is the mandala of your mind. Look at the world you have built within. Can you see it? The foundation of reclaimed shadow, the walls of focused will, the central altar of the unbroken spirit, the fiery forge of the dragon, the windows open to the meaningful sky. For too long, you have perhaps moved from room to room, feeling now the strength of the foundation, now the heat of the forge, as if they were separate places. You have been a visitor in your own palace. The mandala is the blueprint that reveals how every stone, every flame, every whisper is connected in a single, sovereign whole. It is the pattern of meaning that makes a sacred space out of a mere collection of rooms. This is not a static picture to be framed and admired. It is a living, dynamic process. To hold the mandala of your mind is to understand that your vulnerability is not the opposite of your strength, but its necessary companion. It is to see that your focused attention feeds your authenticity, which in turn attracts synchronicity, which further deepens your resilience. Each part sustains and is sustained by the others. The center is everywhere. When a new challenge arises, you do not frantically search for a single tool. You consult the map. You see where this challenge fits within the entire pattern. You ask, does this threaten my foundation or test my resilience? Does it demand the dragon's fire or the bridge of my persona? You move from a state of reaction to a state of orchestration. This is the end of the inner war. This is the silence after the last echo of conflict has faded. There is no longer a battle between light and shadow, between fear and courage, between the self and the mask. There is only the intricate, beautiful, and constantly evolving dance of the whole. The confidence that arises from this is not unstoppable because it is loud, but because it is utterly complete. It is the confidence of a system that is self-repairing, self-regulating, and self-renewing. It is the quiet hum of a universe in perfect balance within your own soul. So take your place at the center of this living mandala. Feel its symmetry and its wild, organic beauty. See how every experience, every joy, and every wound you have ever reclaimed has its necessary place in the design. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It is a pattern to be recognized, a holy geometry of the soul coming into its own fulfillment. This is the map of your becoming. So now, you see, the path is not outside you. It never was. You have descended into the cellar and reclaimed your stone. You have learned the alchemy of attention, turning noise into light. You have awakened the unbroken one within, and you have sat in council with your dragon, learning the language of its fire. You have felt the universe whisper back in synchronicity. You have built a bridge of authentic expression, and you have beheld the sacred map of your own wholeness. You are no longer a guest in your own house. You are the master of the sanctuary. You are the keeper of the flame. You are the cartographer of your own destiny. Do not leave this place and simply return to the world. Return to the world as the world you have become. Carry this unassailable wholeness with you. Let it be the ground upon which you walk. Let your every action be a brushstroke on the canvas of your own becoming. When the old voice of doubt whispers, let the stones of your foundation answer. When distraction beckons, let the gold of your focus shine. When fear roars, let your tamed dragon breathe purpose into your veins. The world does not need more people living in the shallow water of their potential. It needs you whole, integrated, and radiantly human. It needs you to stop asking for permission to be the giant that you are. Go now, not with luck, but with certainty. For you do not need luck when you are aligned with the deepest currents of your own soul. You carry your own fortune within you. Thank you. Now go and be unstoppable. The world is waiting for the signal of your presence. Godspeed.